Yeah, what I want to talk to you guys about is how to understand music. And for this one, I'm talking about musical notes. To be able to understand musical notes is to first you need to overcome the intimidation. And how do you overcome the intimidation? Well, the thing is you need to do is you need to think of the music. Because the thing about the music is that the music is in a category, okay? Every musical note is in a category. If you go on Fruity Loops, you'll see that. If you do this, you'll see that. Every single one, it might be called a road sound. Like I know I said that before. It might be called, who knows, maybe, a D&B mix. Whatever, every single sound fits in a certain category. A category. And because of musical instruments, off of Fruity Loops, it makes it easier for you to understand when if you actually want to learn how to make music, in real life, not just off of Fruity Loops. Consider Fruity Loops kind of similar to probably maybe like the classic thing those music professors used to do, where they would write like a piece of paper or something with all of these musical notes on it, and they would wave around a stick. Consider it that, like the Fruity Loops, like the 21st century version of that. And that's the thing about it. It makes it easier, and to when you do that sort of stuff, it makes it easier for you when you put in a category, and to specify, think of it like this, okay? Like, let's just say there's a few categories of music that you like, okay? Each music category that you like, because you can sample and listen in advance to see if you like this category or whatnot. Make sure when you listen to it, to overcome the intimidation, think of that music category. Like, let's just say it's a D&B mix, which is for dubstep. I don't know where the N comes from in the middle of it, but whatever, But think about it like this. But that's what you need to think about. Is just think about it like a letter, okay? Think of the category as like a letter, and all of the musical notes, even if there's hundreds, or probably at the most maybe like, I don't know, maybe like slightly over 100 different musical notes, that each time you might move it up. It doesn't just have to be for the piano one. It could just be for maybe guitar, anything. It varies the number, of course, musical notes will have for each category. Think of it as like letters, okay? Because honestly, if and what I'm trying to say here is that it shows you that it's not impossible for you to understand how many different songs, how many that you cannot memorize in your head, all of the different musical notes. Because when you look at it, okay, for the letter A, okay, maybe for letter B, C, D, how many words do you know, at least that you know of, not just regular English words, but even slang words, do you know that that are for each letter? You know tons of them, okay? You know a lot of them. So, and the thing is, it's kind of odd to think, we know hundreds of letters. Oh, well, I mean hundreds of words. Yeah, hundreds of words for each letter, because we might take it for granted, but when you really look at it, we know a lot of words, okay? Even for people who are not good at writing on paper, I've seen some people who people say are dumb, and they have a huge vocabulary, The thing, what makes them dumb is that I guess they just don't focus too much on their future. But at the same time, even some of the dumbest people, they have a huge vocabulary. So it shows you that honestly, that's what you need to think of when you need to realize it, overcome the intimidation. Because if you're interested in getting and memorizing 3 different music categories, just think of that. Each one represents a letter. I'm not telling you to exactly like imagine this one to be an A, and maybe even write an A or something, on it or whatever. Don't do that. You don't have to do that. But just think of that in your head as a way to psychologically overcome the fear of it. And once you do this, you can then start to expand learning other music categories that they also have on Fruity Loops, or any music software program that might work for you. I don't know if there other ones are as good as Fruity Loops, but maybe there is, maybe maybe there isn't. And then once you do that, you start seeing which ones can go together, go together. So once you've mastered maybe three ones, you can then maybe practice different sounds on Fruity Loops. It's still pretty cheap, but you can actually buy a set that gives you a list of sounds. Fruity Loops in general, it's cheap. Even though you paid $20 for the beginning, I don't know. I have an old version, but I'm assuming it'll be the same thing. But honestly, man, that really is it. You just simply memorize the musical notes, and you take another musical notes. Maybe it might be 3, 4, and you analyze and you start to memorize them too, and then put them together. And through putting them together, you might make different sounds and all that sort of stuff. That just expands not only the quality, but the diversity of sounds you use. You might use this certain sound, whether it's whether for just this one song, it might be for the piano. You prefer these certain piano categories. You might prefer these certain drum kit categories, and maybe over time, some of the old ones you might start losing interest in them. This is just a way to make sure you can set it up. You can set it up differently. But one thing you got to make sure though, and this is surprising, is that honestly, if you have a certain style, honestly, and you want to go big, you will have to keep some of the original ones, definitely, no matter how you look at it. Because honestly, just listen to Justin Timberlake, okay? Justin Timberlake, like, he made songs years ago. Like, some of these songs he made were 14 years ago, in 2002. This was just 1 year after 9/11. And we've been in 9/11, in the war. I mean, America has been in the war in Afghanistan for the longest period of time. So it really goes to show you how long it's been. And the thing about him is that when you listen to his music, even without maybe even hearing his voice, you could kind of tell it's Justin Timberlake. So keep some of that format, the same format, to make you recognizable. And for the original fans that might have been with you for the longest time, you don't have to deal with the people who might say that you're trying to be trendy, you're giving up on your roots and all that sort of stuff. You just be you, and just in general, you don't lose your old fans who might lose interest in you. So honestly, once you do that, this whole thing I've taught you in this video, you will learn. It will teach you how to make a beat that how to learn the musical notes, okay? This is not a video that teaches you how to actually make a song, okay? This is just focusing on musical notes, okay? I made a video prior talking about how you actually creatively make a song. This video is different. This is just teaching you how to memorize, you know, just giving you tips on musical notes in general, to overcome the intimidation and just simply to know how to use them. And this is my video, and maybe after you watch it and you start, and you receive some of these tips, you know, maybe you might use one or two of them, you can then actually start making songs, and that's it.